Welcome to the Deep Haven Mortgage Home Equity Line of Credit portal. In today's video, we're going to be covering the process that a borrower would take when they are utilizing the loan officer's shareable link to get started with their loan application. Once they've signed in to the loan officer's website, they can click on Get Started Now. This is going to prompt them to answer questions about their property. We'll go ahead and choose that this is a single-family residence. They are looking for funds for home improvements. And we're going to go ahead and enter in as the borrower their property address. From here, they can go ahead and answer just a couple of more questions on that property status, that estimated value of their home, and then how they use that property, whether it is a primary, secondary, or vacation property or investment. In this example, we're going to use this as their primary residence. There's also questions regarding how the property is held, meaning do we have that held in a trust or an LLC? In this instance, there is not an LLC or trust in place. We just have that borrower as the owner investing. We'll click on Continue. From here, it's going to prompt that borrower to go ahead and enter in their information. They will also be able to go ahead and add in a cell phone number as well as a password that they would like to use when signing into the portal. From there, they will consent to the electronic records and click on Continue. At this point, it's going to be pulling in all of their information, and then it's going to have them go ahead and update with their Social Security number, as well as their birth date. From there, they'll indicate their citizenship status and then how they are going to be verifying their income. We have a variety of different options for those borrowers to utilize. So if they are a W-2 wage earner, we can use TrueWorks to be able to verify that. We also have self-employment income as well, so we can utilize bank statements to do that. And for this particular borrower, they are using their bank statement income as a self-employed borrower. We're going to go ahead and add in that business name, and then also what that income is that they receive. Depending on how that information is indicated, it will calculate at the bottom for us. So this is showing that they are receiving that $250,000 on an annual basis. From here, they're going to verify the CFPB HELOC, what you should know, as well as that soft credit and income verification information. It's going to go ahead and process that information and pull that information for us into the system to be able to kind of take those next steps forward. From here, if the borrower needed to add a co-borrower, they have that opportunity to do so. That co-borrower, if they do apply, they will have a separate portion of the application to finish. But for this one, we're just going to have that individual that is going to be applying by themselves. I'm going to click on Continue. It's going to pull in that soft credit pull. And then now it's going to be doing a verification. So the borrower is going to get a code on their phone that all they have to do is add into the system here and then click on Continue. At this point, it is going to pull in the information from that soft credit pull. And in this situation, we can see that there are two properties that are showing, or two mortgages that are showing on their credit report. And so we just need to indicate if those are both for that particular property, if they have a second home, investment property, etc. In this instance, we're going to go ahead and indicate that we do have a first and second lien on the property. And because Deep Haven is not able to go into third position, there is that notice that there is an action required that we must go into first or second. This allows for us to be able to give that borrower the opportunity to indicate that we're going to pay off at closing one or both of these mortgages. What we're going to go ahead and do is we're just going to pay off the one at the 200,000, and we're going to leave that first mortgage balance that has $100,000 on it still available as that first mortgage, and then we'll pay off that second lien position with the proceeds of this loan. The borrower can then go ahead and indicate if taxes and insurance are included in that mortgage payment, which it is, and they do not have any HOA fees. From here, we're going to go ahead and indicate that we would like to borrow 250,000. We're taking into account that 200,000 that we need to be able to pay off that one lien. And so I'm going to click on continue. This again is now going to pull all of that information into session. It is going to be, again, looking at that soft credit pull, the AVM that is going to be utilized, that automated valuation, to be able to see what we are looking at from a loan to value perspective and how much equity we have in that particular property. And for this example, we can see as the borrower that they have been pre-qualified, and while they requested that 250,000, they actually are eligible for more based on their income as well as that loan to value or the equity that they have in the property. What we're going to do is, again, as the borrower, they are the ones who are going to be making those final decisions, and this is that borrower walkthrough. So if they decide that after kind of thinking things over and looking at their plans and they want to increase that dollar amount, they sure can. And so they can just go ahead and update that information on this screen, click on save, and then we will see that 200,000 that we're going to be paying off of that previous mortgage that we saw on the last screen. They also have that ability if they want to change their draw amount. So we give those borrowers an option to be able to take out an 80% draw or 100%. They have either of those available for them. We're just going to leave it at that 100%. Borrower also will be selecting what that origination fee is going to look like. And again, that's going to be based on a particular state and their compliance guidelines surrounding origination fees. And in this particular instance, that borrower can choose 2.99, 1999, 0.99, or 0%. It is also going to show that corresponding interest rate. So if a particular borrower just kind of wants to see a comparison, doing that 2.99 at 8.25 with a payment of about 2062, perhaps they'd like to look at it with an origination fee of 0.99%. That is going to show an interest rate of 9% and that monthly payment of 2250. So it gives them those options should they want to make any changes. As they continue scrolling down the screen, if there is a situation where the borrower believes that that AVM value did not come in high enough for what they were looking to do, they can go ahead and update and change that property value. This is going to give a heads up to Deep Haven that we do need to take some extra steps once that loan has been submitted. Again, we are not going to take any further steps in regards to ordering appraisal or anything like that until we have touched base with you as that loan officer and you have talked with the borrower. In this instance, we're just going to leave that AVM value that is sufficient for what we are looking to do, and we'll leave that right there. There's also at the bottom of the screen just that reminder that we do offer that 0.25% discount if the borrower is looking to set up auto pay. So again, just helps with that rate as well as that monthly payment. On the right-hand side, it is just confirming with that borrower the dollar amount that they are looking to borrow, the credit score of what they have, that property value. So for this particular property, it came in at 932. And then that combined loan to value or equity available and the debt to income ratios. And again, It's just letting that borrower know those next steps that they will need to be able to continue moving forward with this application. At this point, we're going to go ahead and continue to the application. And this is where the borrower, again, is going to continue to drive and just fill in some personal details about themselves. So the first thing at the top is just letting us know when that property was purchased and then how long that they have lived at that particular property. Again, it's going to go through those normal demographic as well as declarations. This individual is unmarried. There is not anybody else on title, so we're just going to go ahead and click on continue. And then from here, again, those demographics, they're choosing not to identify, so we'll just go ahead and include that information. And then it is just confirming if that property address that we indicated or the borrower indicated at the beginning is their mailing address. And so we're going to go ahead and say yes to that. Always important, those disclosures. So as the borrower, you can just go ahead and click on View Disclosures. It gives you that opportunity to read through these 3 pages. And once finished, you'll go ahead and click on I have read and agreed to those disclosures. It's also letting the borrower know that we are going to pull a hard credit pull once that loan has been submitted. And from here, they're going to click on that authorization to go ahead and do so, and we'll click continue. As we move, we are going to be seeing those declarations. We're going to indicate that this property is their primary residence. It is not a purchase transaction. So again, they are going to go ahead and include and answer all of these questions as they would do so. Again, each individual person will need to make sure that they are reviewing these questions and answering them with a yes or no response in order to move forward. Some of the final pieces are going to be that identity verification. You can go ahead and verify identity by utilizing Plaid. So we do have that as an integration within here. But that borrower also has that opportunity to be able to go ahead and upload documents themselves. So if they have a copy of their driver's license, they can go ahead and upload that, which is I'm going to do here by just dragging and dropping that front and back version of their driver's license. From here, I'll click on continue, and now we'll go into that income verification. As the borrower, they do have that opportunity where they can utilize Plaid to go ahead and pull in that bank statement income that we would be needing to use for their self-employment information. We also have the opportunity that they could go ahead and upload those documents manually. Either way is just fine to be able to provide us that information. And on the second half of the screen, it is going to go ahead and ask us to include that business narrative. So let's go ahead and first connect that checking account that Deep Haven will be utilizing to be able to verify their income. From here, they're just going to follow the prompts on the screen in order to connect Plaid. It is going to go ahead and have them enter their phone number as well as a code, choose who they are working with as their organization in terms of where they have those accounts at, and then continue to that login screen. From here, they will go ahead and enter in their username and password, and then they'll get a code to be able to go ahead and do their verification. At this point, this allows for that borrower to connect the specific account information that's going to be used to verify income. There could be other accounts that may show when that information is connected to Plaid, so please make sure that you're only including those accounts that we need to be able to utilize for income verification. And you'll see as we're going through here, you'll see credit card, certificate of deposit, IRAs, etc. So again, do make sure that they're just including that account information that they receive income from their business. At the bottom of the screen, there'll be a couple of disclosures, notifications, and they can just go ahead and click on that connection and then that terms of conditions and connecting that account. Again, that is going to pull those business bank statements or personal bank statements, depending on that verification piece, into the system for our underwriters to be able to review. Again, if they wanted to upload those documents manually, there is the option to also go ahead and do so. But in this case, we've already connected that particular checking account, so we have that there. Again, business narrative is going to be important to be filled out, and so we're going to go ahead and enter in that information from here, as well as that business address. Also indicating what type of industry that is in, and of course, any other type of information from a business description. What their income is from that business, and then also what that percentage of ownership is. And in this case, they're 100% owner, as they are the president of the company. And then again, final information on here is just that start date. And if there is anything else that they need to include, there is space for them to be able to do so. If they have another business that they happen to operate and are going to be using for income, they can click on the plus key to be able to add another business narrative if necessary. From here, we're just going to go ahead and click on continue. Now it's also going to let us, indicate how that borrower would like to receive those funds. And so they can go ahead and connect with Plaid, or they can enter in that information. In this instance, because we pulled in that checking account information already, you can just connect with Plaid, go ahead and verify by putting in that phone number in one more time, and continue from there. If that borrower doesn't know how they would like to have that those funds from that home equity line of credit that we're doing deposited, there is an option to skip for now. So either they can connect that account or they can go ahead and skip, and our operations team will reach out for that verification. And in this example, we're just going to go ahead and skip for now so you can see how that looks. Final pieces of that application are going to be pulling in for us. It's also going to be letting us know if there are still some outstanding tasks, like that funding account information that we skipped in the application process. And then there's just going to be a reminder to that borrower of what they selected in terms of the amount that they were looking to borrow, or what the interest rate would be, that monthly payment, etc. And so they'll see all of that on the final page of their application. And so we can see that that pre-qual has been completed with that check mark. It does indicate that we do have a couple of tasks to be able to complete: verification of that bank information and that funding account. If the borrower is ready to go ahead and do so, they can go ahead and click on Start Task. Or if that's something that they would like to take on later, they can always sign right back into the portal to be able to go ahead and do that. Again, they'll see any underwriting tasks next time they sign in, as well as they can review the different information of things that they have already completed. Finally, as a note, on the left side of the screen, you will see that home equity line of credit dollar amount, that interest rate, as well as that monthly payment. And at this point in time, your borrower has completed from start to finish that application, and it is now in the hands of the Deep Haven operations team, who will be reaching out to yourself and your borrower very shortly with those next steps to get completed.